You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Thank you for joining me here today on our second Cabral HouseCall of the weekend, answering our community's questions. Hopefully you were able to tune in yesterday, where we answered a bunch of our community's questions. We do this each and every weekend. Really excited to be able to get all these questions in from literally all around the world. And they're always on different topics, right? We've got health topics, we've got body transformation, we've got health coaches looking to kind of transform their career. We have, I saw a question come in today on altitude sickness, so it really runs the gambit. And that's the nice thing about the health field in general, is that it's so wide and so varied that you can never really get bored, because it's almost like you're never working with the same person twice, because even though they might have the same types of health issues, whether it be digestive-based, hormonal-based, alopecia, autoimmune, etc., that they're coming from a little bit different of perspective, meaning they're a different person. Their bio-individuality is going to warrant a little bit different of a program or protocol. So, all these things are just really, really great to be able to help people with. Love the health field in general. And hopefully these questions on the weekends are able to help you, whether you have the same exact issue or maybe you know someone in your family or friends, coworkers that are dealing with it. Really, it's just the ability to pay it forward, to share with people what you've learned, just like I'm sharing with you what I've learned from my past as well, whether it be reading many, many books or studying with some great mentors, studying overseas, all of those things I just try to bring back and pull it into one form, one system of medicine, and natural health really is what it is, that we're able to then help others heal. So looking forward to today's questions, and let's get right into it. The first question today is from Ashley. Ashley's writing in, first off, thanks for all the amazing podcasts. I'm fairly new to them, but you're the only podcast I listen to on a regular basis because the information is so applicable to not only my life, but the lives of others around me. Quick question. I'm from Indiana and recently went snowboarding on a trip to Colorado. The second day I noticed a headache, and that Dr. Google led me to believe I had a tension headache and my resting heart rate was in the hundreds. I believe I was experiencing issues with altitude, and it seemed to get worse until we boarded the plane and headed home. I believe my Indiana lungs, heart couldn't handle the elevation. I don't plan on giving up traveling to these high elevations. Is there any way to prepare my body for another high altitude trip? Normal resting heart rate in the 60s. Drink recommended fluid per day, if not more. Hot yoga recently started. Lift 3 times a week. No caffeine drinks ever. Much room for improvement, though. Thanks for everything. All right, this is a great question. And I work with athletes at altitude. I work with athletes when they're heading to competition at altitude. And then of just those people going for trips like yourself, whether it be hiking, snowboarding, skiing, you name it. So here's some tips that I give them. Now, again, if we run labs with you and we look at all sorts of things like a hair tissue mineral analysis would let us look at your overall electrolytes, like that's certainly very, very helpful. But let's just talk about in general, how do we help people adjust to altitude faster? Because it can take anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks to really adjust. Now, most people are good or within like a week or two, but honestly, a lot of people, and the majority of people, I would say, 3 to 6 weeks to really feel comfortable. Now, for a weekend trip or a week trip, that's of course not enough time to adjust, but here's what you can do. So ahead of time as well, we want to be able to get more sleep because we want the body to be more adaptable, more flexible, okay? You want to be able to lower the stress level. So using something like Adrenal Soothe, that's Equilibrium nutrition product, Adrenal Soothe, at least 2 caps before bed will help lower those cortisol levels, get you a deeper night's sleep. Really important to stay hydrated while on the plane there and then while you are there. Now, if you typically are drinking 8 glasses of water per day, you might be taking that up, might need to take that up to 10. And of course, put a pinch of sea salt in there and some lime. But at the same time, you don't want to do excess sodium or salt while at altitude until you've adjusted, because you can actually lead to more constriction of the arteries. Okay, so that's really important to look at, or dehydration. You want to be able to eat much cleaner. So this is really important until you've adjusted. Eat clean, not a lot of fried foods or fatty foods, nothing to create inflammation or constriction of the arteries. And you want to be absolutely not drinking any alcohol until you've adapted to altitude as well, because that will just increase the heart rate. That will definitely make you more dehydrated. Again, more sleep while you are there, and then ease into it. So if it's possible, to start at a lower altitude and then work your way up during the trip. That's going to help tremendously. Just making sure to take your typical nutritional supplements, the daily nutritional support or daily activated multivitamin. Take your greens. That will help you stay more hydrated. The daily fruit and vegetable blend is that 22 organic fruits and vegetables. And then one more special supplement that I could recommend is chaga tea. And I've done a Friday review on that. So just go to stephencabral.com/podcasts and type in CHAGA in the search bar, chaga. And you'll find my review on chaga tea or chaga supplements, which help to increase oxygen to the muscles and endurance. And I can never remember, but I believe it's the Andes Mountains. I want to say it's Andes, but I might be incorrect on that. But that's actually where they first came from or found out about it, is that fuzzy thinking with what animal it was. I believe it was the goats, the rams up there, used to eat these chaga mushrooms, and they were, that the people, again, I'm really blanking here whether it was Peru or not, is they saw the animals with just amazing stamina. The people there started eating them, and then from there, it's taken off. All right. So that is your recommendations for adjusting to altitude faster. All right, Marin's up next. MERRIN. Hi, I've been battling mild Candida vaginal infection for 12 months. I tried the Candida diet and boric acid, but nothing has worked. I'm about to start a 5-week course of a certain type of cream, and I'm wondering if you have an experience helping women with Candida. I'm in Australia, so do you do Skype consults, and how do I get the necessary supplements? By the way, I love your podcast. All right, Marin, I know that this is probably 8 weeks old, this question. One of the things that we kind of became most well-known for is our Candida and bacterial overgrowth protocol. So hands down, it helps thousands of people all over the world. Literally thousands and thousands of people all over the world. We ship to the UK, Canada, Australia, and the United States. We're hoping later this year, once we get an even better fulfillment center, because honestly, we're always trying to upgrade. We like our fulfillment center now. They're not the best, honestly. We're going to get a better one. That's just the way that we are. We're always looking to improve ourselves as an offline functional medicine practice that's been around for many years, now transitioning online, being one of the only, one of the first. So we're really kind of paving our own way, right? We're figuring this out as we go along. Like, how do we do this at scale for people all around the world? So we do Skype consults. We do, thousands of those as well. And we love that because it's almost like being in person. So I would say 60% or more of all my consults now are over Skype, maybe even 70%, where it used to be just a couple of years ago, 30% and 70% was in person. But now it's really the majority is all over the world. So myself and my team, we help people with Candida literally all the time. Usually in Australia, you can just run an organic acids test. You purchase it from Equilibrium Nutrition. And again, you can just go to stephencabral.com/905. That's today's show notes. At 905, you'll be able to find the link for the organic acids test. If you want, you can run a stool test as well. But really, the organic acids test is testing for that Candida strain that you're talking about. Or if you want, you can just go right into the Candida and bacterial overgrowth protocol and add the citricidal drops to that. Okay, that's a 12-week protocol. Then after that, you do the heal and seal protocol to seal up that gut wall. This will help internally, and then that will help the external vaginal-based Candida infection. Because remember, Candida is trying to be helpful as well, believe it or not. Candida diets, I've done a podcast on that called Candida, Why Candida Diets Don't Work. Please do listen to that. A Candida diet is not going to help you get rid of Candida in the long run. It is only going to work while you stay on the diet. Eventually, you don't want to be on a Candida diet your entire life. And then the boric acid will work, but only in conjunction with everything else. And boric acid actually works, I'd say, even better for bacterial vaginosis rather than a Candida-based infection. So, Marin, hopefully that helps. We'd be happy to help just if it works for you. Honestly, we never try to force ourselves into every situation, and so it's only if it works for you. Again, we never try to be forceful. I want to provide the content and the information first, and you might just decide to do it your own way, which is perfectly acceptable. No problem at all. All right, Don's up next. He's writing in, Dr. Brawl, for the last 7-8 years, I've been dealing with urologists, and they say I have pelvic floor dysfunction, meaning when I eat certain foods, it causes my bladder to spasm and push on my pelvic floor, and it makes me feel like I have to go to the bathroom more often. The worst time is at night. I've noticed that eating sweet fruits like pineapples, mangoes, spotted bananas, and citrus fruits, especially lemons, but the past couple of years it's moved to sweet potatoes, cooked carrots, and occasionally squash. My urologist says the only thing I can do is eliminate the trigger foods, but that trigger foods keep getting longer. I've also noticed that any type of single leg stress like lunges can exacerbate the issue. The things that I've tried are deep breathing, meditation, Kegels, anti-anxiety medication, and yoga. None of them seem to help. Is this a pelvic floor issue, meaning my pelvic floor needs to be stretched or strengthened? Do you think it could be something else going on? Don's asking. Of course, you can read everyone's question in depth at stephencabral.com/905 for today's questions. Should I run one of your labs tests first or go straight to the urinary tract protocol? Or maybe this is something like Candida overgrowth. P.S. Love the show. Originally heard you on the Renegade Radio with Jason Ferrugia. So glad I found you. Thanks, Don. All right, Don, thanks for writing in. Happy to help you with this. And happy that you found out about us on Jason Ferrugia's show. Jay is an amazing guy. Really has been in the fitness industry forever and has so much great information to share with the world. Happy to be on his show. So, Don, we want to look at a few things first. So, bottom line is this. We need to figure out if this is a Candida-based issue, which, to me, it's moving in that direction. Here's why. You're having sensitivity to FODMAP-based foods, okay? Fructo, oligo, di, mono, and polysaccharide-based foods. Sensitive with larger dosages of squash and pineapple and mangoes and spotted bananas, which are going to be a little bit sweeter, right? A little bit more of that sugar. So that's what I'm looking at right now. I would run an organic acids test. You're welcome to run a stool test for SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. What I'm going to do is, yes, I mean, even if you only read one, it would be the organic acids test. If there was a second one, you would run the stool test along with that. Okay, what we would do is then get those results. I would give my personal recommendations, and you would speak with one of my health coaches over Skype. So that's what I would do first. If you don't want to do that, no problem. You will do the urinary tract, healthy urinary tract protocol, and then you would do the Candida and bacterial overgrowth protocol simultaneously. Again, the urinary tract protocol is great. It's only meant to be done really for 3 to 5 days. And if it's a Candida-based issue, it's not going to give you the effectiveness that you want. But it could flush out and wash out any of the E. coli that may have gotten into the bladder. And so certainly that's worth trying. There's obviously some type of aggravation going on, and we need to figure out what that is. It's triggered by certain foods. You figure that out now. I would say we need to look at why the foods are triggering this in the first place. So organic acids test, stool test would be second. Urinary tract protocol, Candida and bacterial overgrowth protocol if we find the yeast overgrowth, and then any other recommendations we may give you as well based on those labs. So Don, hopefully that is helping. All right. Emily's up next. Emily's asking, hi, Dr. Brawl. I'm a 26-year-old female experiencing thinning of hair and hair loss. I have a section that's becoming bald. I've been on birth control pills for 10 years. No family history of hair loss. Relatively healthy, not stressed out. Any suggestions? Thanks in advance for your help. Yes, we've done a bunch of shows, Emily, on low thyroid. And this is the first place to go. So if the hair is not falling out, such as alopecia, we're not looking straight towards autoimmune, Candida overgrowth, or high cortisol for the alopecia. For thinning hair on women, we're looking at typically, again, not always, but typically, let's say 8.5 out of 10 times. We're looking at some type of hormonal and thyroid-based dysfunction. So we're looking at a dysfunction with higher levels of testosterone, potentially, meaning higher levels of androgens, and an imbalance sometimes between progesterone and estrogen, and then oftentimes a lower thyroid output. Okay, we see this quite often in women in our practice. Honestly, the only way for me to tell you straight ahead what it is, what's going on, is to run the thyroid adrenal hormone lab. Now, if you were to run a second lab, I would again recommend the organic acids test, just to make sure this isn't a gut-based issue on your end. And the last one you could do is a hair tissue mineral analysis, which would actually look at heavy metal, which can oxidize and in some cases cause hair loss as well because of free radical damage. So there are many other reasons. There's iron overload or too little for hair thinning. What else is there? We talked about the heavy metals. There's a lot of different things that it could be, but that's at least where I would start, okay? Because vitamin deficiencies, protein deficiencies, catabolic nature, like all sorts of different things, but that's where I would start. So Emily, hopefully that helps. Gail's up next. What's Gail asking? Gail is saying, hi, Dr. Ball. Love your podcast. They've given me so much inspiration to get well. 10 years ago, I had breast cancer, lumpectomy, 6 months of chemotherapy, 12 weeks radiation, steroids, etc., followed by 5 years of follow-up, medication, etc. My thyroid went crazy. I've been on thyroxine ever since. I would appreciate your advice on a place to start to get my health back. Cheers, Gil. All right, Gil, happy to help with this. I've done a bunch of shows lately on that thyroid. So let's give you the latest one. The latest one was episode 901, stephencabral.com/901. Now, the reason why I'm just mentioning that is because if you go to stephencabral.com/901, the 9 silent low thyroid symptoms that spell disaster, on that show notes page, I actually link back to 3 previous thyroid episodes. Now, let me go back. Emily, you should be listening to this question as well, because if the thyroid is not functioning properly, it's potentially because it's missing 2 minerals that it needs to function well, or it has any number of toxicities, but the main 4 ones that I list on that podcast on the 4 toxins that affect your thyroid. I won't do it justice by giving you a 30-second answer on that. So listen to those shows. It will tell you exactly what you need to know, and that will help you get back your thyroid health. Honestly, I mean, I can't even tell you the number of people we work with thyroid-based issues. Like, it's one of the top things I see in my practice. 9 out of 10 of those are women with thyroid-based issues, but still 1 out of 10 we see are men with thyroid-based issues as well. We've been really successful at helping people with Hashimoto's, helping people with hypothyroidism, low thyroid, as well as Graves'. So again, we don't treat disease. We look at the underlying root causes of what caused these thyroid dysfunctions in the first place. And so, Gail, that's how we would help you. I would say anyone that's, again, like, amazing that you did it, right? You came through the other side of breast cancer, and I'm really proud of you. Now what we want to do is we want to get your body back to optimal. So we're going to do a Dr. Ball detox for 21 days to really clean out anything that's left, get that liver functioning well, and then we're going to figure out what's going on with these thyroid-based tests. Run the thyroid adrenal hormone test before you do the detox. You can also run that hair tissue mineral analysis as well. And then, of course, I mean, the Dr. Ball Big 5 would be great for you to run. You'd get everything you need on your health, but you can obviously choose to just do 1 or 2, which would be the thyroid adrenal hormone, and then the hair tissue mineral analysis, and then a third for you would be that organic acids test. But honestly, the omega-3 test and the food sensitivity test would also be great. Okay, Celeste is up next. Hello, Dr. Ball. Much like you, my introduction to natural healing and functional medicine began after I had an ailment that regular medicine couldn't solve. The healing I saw my body do for itself so life-changing that I decided to change my entire college path to try to leverage schooling to educate others about body's natural ability to heal itself. I'm about to graduate from college with a basic health science degree. I was just wondering what advice and next steps we would do. I want to go to graduate school eventually. I've been going back and forth with some type of nutrition degree, PT school, or ... I am at a loss for where to go. My ideal job would be a health coach or something along those lines. Do you have any recommendations for graduate program or certificate that I can begin to look into for the next upcoming years? Thank you. All right, so Celeste, I'm a little different in this department. I've given this I've given these recommendations before, meaning that if you want to go back to school, all for it, fantastic. I'll give you some of my mixed reviews. So if you want to become a naturopathic doctor, there's some amazing schools out there, and you can look them up. Bridgeport in Connecticut, Bastyr, Southwest. There's so many great schools. There's one in Portland, Oregon. I'm sorry that I don't know all the names, and I don't want to leave any of them out. So those are all great naturopathic doctoral schools. You can go back for anything, right? You can go back to become a dietitian, any of these things. But the problem is that they might not always lead you to exactly the path that you want to be on. So it's great. Like, don't get me wrong. I'll never regret any education that I've had. But a lot of times, literally just reading and studying, going deep. Don't read a couple articles. So many people read the articles, but then they don't know why they work. You have to go deep on these things. So what I would say is read a lot in a lot of different areas. So you said PT school, which I'm assuming you're referring to physical therapy. Take a year or two. There's nothing wrong with that. Take a year or two, get some certifications, maybe get your personal training certification. And so you can do so much right there, right? So personal training certification, I've named them before, but NASM, NSCA, or ACSM are all the top ones. Those are great. There are others, but those ones are great. For health coaching, this fall, we're coming out with our health coaching certification for regular, everyday people who might not want to practice, but they want to know it for their friends, their family, their community, so they can be the go-to person. And then for people who want to get more advanced, we're going to have 3 levels of health coaching. And that's going to be amazing. So that's going to be me teaching you exactly how I practice. And so you might look into that. But really, you just have to get into it. You just have to do I'll tell you, my 20s were filled with me just getting certification after certification because I wanted to learn more and I want to broaden my horizon so I know a little bit about kind of everything. And then I would go deep in certain topics. So I went deep into nutrition because that's where my passion was ever since I was 18. So, but I mean, I became a certified yoga instructor. I got certified in Reiki. I've got, certified in golf conditioning. I was a strength and conditioning specialist. I went deep in a lot of different areas and I practiced in a lot of them, but I never practiced in massage. I've never practiced in Reiki and I've never practiced in yoga, even though I've done all of my hours and certificates and all that good stuff, right? And those are just a couple, just to name a few. So I just love the health field in general. Explore a little bit. And then if you decide to commit to that 2 to 4 year school after that, well, then great. That's only going to move you forward faster. But I'm telling you right now, most people want to work with people that can get them results. So if you can get people results and you have the knowledge to back it up and you're a good person, meaning you want the best for people, I don't know anymore if you really need to go back and become a registered dietitian or all of these different things. Never anything harm with it. It's only great. I mean, to become a naturopathic doctor, amazing, right? All those things are great. But I just don't know if it's for everyone's course. That's all. So I just want to try to give the both sides to that. All right, let's do one more question. It's from Carla. Hi, Dr. Ball. Is there any way to restore naturally thinning skin? I'm 36, was treating what I think was flat warts in the back of my hands with tea tree oil. And while it didn't seem too much for the warts, it significantly thinned my skin. It looks kind of smooth, wrinkled tissue paper and gets dry very easily and sore if I wash my hands a lot. I work with my hands, which doesn't help, but I've been putting sesame, castor oil, and coconut oil on at night and whatever I can, but they haven't really done much. Is there anything else I can do? Thanks very much, Carla. Okay, Carla, so much we can do. Let's just give you a few of the recommendations because this is a topic I've definitely talked about on the podcast. So you can just go to stevencabral.com/podcasts. And on that page, you can type in thinning skin. All right, so you can do that and that will, or just restore skin. It will definitely give you a bunch of podcasts on that. So here's what I want to recommend. We have a great product. I hardly ever talk about it because I'm not good in that way, but it's an amazing product. It's called Advanced Collagen Support. The collagen that we use is state-of-the-art. So that means it uses 1/3 of the animal-based products, which is great for the environment, much better obviously for animals, because that's obviously where collagen comes from. Okay, so Advanced Collagen Support helps tremendously. Use that for 6 to 8 weeks minimum and begin to see the difference. Along with that, taking in more vitamin C. Our alkalizing vitamin C is fantastic, or our full spectrum vitamin C. Both of those are great. And then balanced zinc. All of those are great for the skin. What I would really say to make this easier for you is this. This is what I would do. I would just make your special skin concoction. I should talk about this. I will talk about this on an upcoming show. Why don't I do that? Easiest way to do it is this. Daily nutritional support powder, 1 scoop in a smoothie. In that same smoothie, 1 serving of the Advanced Collagen Support. It's all you need because it's literally, read about it on the page, see if it's right for you. There's not a more advanced collagen product out there. Literally, there isn't. That's why we didn't come up with a collagen product, because we're never going to come up with a Me Too collagen product. Why would I do that? I can just promote other people, which I used to in the past. Equilibrium Nutrition now has the most advanced collagen product out there. You can check it out. You can see all the scientific studies to back it up. So in your smoothie, you're going to put in, and I highly recommend the smoothie, because then there's antioxidants with those blueberries or whatever berries you want to put in that helps with the skin. So daily nutritional support, add in a scoop of the Advanced Collagen Support, add in 1 serving of the Healthy Gut Support, which contains your zinc, your glutamine as well for your skin, and then you can take your vitamin C on the side. That is a super cocktail for really strong, healthy skin. I can't recommend that enough. I've never given that recommendation, so this is a first right here on the podcast. Of course, I've been in my private practice, but never online through the house call. So I'm glad that you brought that up, because that gave me the opportunity to do that. Really great questions this week. Always love being able to answer these community questions. Hopefully they've been helpful. If they have, always do feel free to pass along this show to anyone you believe it could serve. And be sure to come back tomorrow for our Motivation and Mindset Monday, one of my favorite days of the week. Take care, everyone. I'll talk with you soon. Before you go, I wanted to share a personal story with you. The real reason I began to get well finally is because I figured out what was wrong with me. And that might seem pretty obvious, but I went from doctor to doctor for over 2 years before discovering at-home functional medicine lab testing. These are the labs that enabled me to finally figure out what was wrong with my hormones, blood sugar, electrolytes, and gut health. And once I knew what was wrong, I could then follow a proven plan in order to rebalance my body from the inside out. This is why I believe so strongly in functional medicine lab testing and why I've made it my mission to share these labs with the world. Now at equa.life, you can order an at-home lab test or a lab bundle for you and your family and be able to complete it within the week. Plus, the EquaLife difference is that you're not left to try to read and figure out these labs on your own. We explain what your lab numbers mean, what they mean in the much bigger picture, and then how to go about rebalancing your body in order to heal. To see our full selection of lab tests, or to set up a free lab selection call to find out what labs may be best for you, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. And do remember, we ship these all over the world. To find out more and to set up your free lab selection call, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. That's EQUI.LIFE/labs.